What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube world? How's it going? Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Been a minute since I did a workout video. So I thought I would include you guys on what is going to be a pushing movement, an upper body movement comprised of vertical, horizontal presses, some with body weight, some with dumbbells, some with barbells. So in most simplistic forms, it's pretty much a chest and shoulder workout, but focused around specific exercises. One is going to be hang clean and press. The other is going to be training for bench press, but with different variations of bench press. So to do that, I'm going to warm up first with a push-up variation, and it is called a deficit push-up. You might be able to see the bricks that are laid out on the floor there. Those are going to serve as platforms for my hands, and having that little bit of separation from the ground allows you to go further towards the ground with your upper body as you lower yourself down, putting a greater stress on your pec muscles, front delts, and all that stuff, just to kind of get good and warm for a barbell movement, which will be immediately following. So I'm going to do a couple sets of these. So you notice, I'm sure, that I only did 5 push-ups. I can do a few more than 5, but I'm not trying to exhaust the muscles right now. I'm just trying to basically wake them up and get them ready for what's coming later in the workout. I try to focus during this warm-up on how flat my hand is and feeling the weight distribution all the way across the bottom of my hand, because I'm sure many of you have the same problems, but I've broken fingers, wrists, all that stuff. So not taking care of those as I should have when I was younger and training through them, not letting stuff heal, I changed the way that I gripped the barbell or pushed against the barbell, and it was wrong. So it changed the entire course of the movement, the way that my joints operated, basically. So I'm trying to right those wrongs now. So if there's any young people watching this, do your physical therapy and heal your injuries before you go back to training. It sucks to wait, it sucks to not be able to train, but it sucks even more to come back to training and have everything be all wonky and off balance, because now you've created inappropriate movement patterns and made postural abnormalities in your body. You know, we're all one kinetic chain. So yes, breaking a finger can affect the way you do your bench press. Breaking a toe can change the way that you sprint or squat, or really even stand, doing a movement that's not even lower body. So all those little mechanics, very important. So again, with this, weight distribution and feeling my shoulder blades come together in the back, separate as I flex from the chest to push myself back up. It's pretty easy to do a push-up incorrectly. When you get tired, you know, you round like this, and now you're doing this kind of a push-up. Instead of having your torso elongated, your collarbone still kind of up at like a 45-degree angle, and leading with your chin as far as where you want your travel path to be. So you're going straight down, straight back up, not okay. So hopefully you guys can see the difference between right and wrong there, and you know, yeah, don't do it wrong. So I'm gonna move you guys a little bit here so that you can better see the excellence of the incline bench press that I'm gonna be doing here. So even though I started with the push-ups for a warm-up, I'm still gonna do a warm-up set with the barbell is, again, I want to get those neuromuscular pathways primed and ready to push bigger weight. So again, making sure that my hands are feeling the weight evenly on both sides, and I'm driving the weight through the path that I want to, and I'm not, again, all crunched and sideways and doing weird shit like that. So it is never a good idea to sacrifice your form for more weight. You can always do more reps, or slow the reps down, or do another set, or shorten your rest period. There's tons of ways that you can improve your intensity of your workout without piling on a bunch of weight and potentially hurting yourself and creating problems for the future. So now I'll be doing around 5 reps or so per set, and some of them may look easy because the idea is to pyramid up in weight. At this point I'm going for strength, not necessarily hypertrophy. So if I were going for just muscle size and volume, I'd be going for a higher rep range of like 8 to 12, maybe even 15 or 20 sometimes, forcing blood and nutrients into the muscle. Today, what I'm focused on is the well-being of my soft tissue, so tendons and ligaments being healthy, and maximal force output. So being powerful is not the same thing as being big. Being powerful is not the same thing as being able to just lift a lot of weight necessarily. Power is, well, in formula, it's the rate of force times the time that it takes to execute it. But being explosive, basically, in English. So that's something that I try to foster throughout training like I'm doing now. So that set felt pretty decent as far as where the bar was hitting, my path of travel with the bar. So I'm going to do another one of those in just a moment and then start going up in weight. Every week, a lot of the exercises may be the same on my press day. And to back up a little bit, I'm doing a 3-day split. So press, pull, squat, rest, or what I call a GCC day, general core cardio, and then repeat. Okay, so I get more volume because I'm lifting more consistently, even though when I'm lifting each day I might not be doing as many repetitions and sets. I don't know if that makes sense, but when I was bodybuilding or hypertrophy training, I would really only do chest once a week, but I would pick 5, 6, maybe more exercises and do at least minimum 3 sets of around 10 to 15 reps per exercise. So I was getting a lot of volume on that specific day, but then I wouldn't touch chest again for about 7 days. And so now chest is getting hit basically every 3 days, but the volume of weight and reps changes each time. So, and right now a lot of that has to do with my ability to recover. You know, I'm natural at this point, I'm not enhanced at all. I don't get to eat as much as I want because I have a house full of dogs that need my attention and other stuff going on. But I'm trying to get back into the groove and just slowly implement some of these practices that I've done for most of my life. Now we'll go up and wait a little bit. Hopefully you guys can hear me over the fan, but here in the dungeon at the HPP headquarters, it's a built-in sauna and a weight room when the summer starts. So you will definitely end up seeing me sweat more than, I don't even know, something that's really sweaty. So this kind of training is difficult for me sometimes because I don't like to rest. I feel like I'm being unproductive if I sit around much more than 30 or 60 seconds. But when you're really trying to get stronger, you need that rest. You have to maximize your recovery between sets in order to give your 100% effort pushing the weight. The idea is to return not fatigued and be able to repeat with the same amount of power or more what you demonstrated on the prior sets. When you're doing bodybuilding training, size-specific training, hypertrophy, the goal is really to just exhaust and beat the shit out of yourself, So taking 30, 45 seconds rest is about all I would give myself, and doing that does a couple things. Not only do you exhaust the muscle faster because it doesn't have as much of a chance to recover, you also keep your heart rate up a little higher, which is going to put you in a completely different metabolic zone. So you're going to burn more calories while you're lifting weights. You're not going to have the same return in strength necessarily because you don't have the necessary glycogen, ATP, creatine regenerated to force it out. But the stamina that you build, the micro trauma that you create, the tears in the muscle, are exponentially greater. And so if you then focus on your nutritional practices post-workout, you should see a very good return in shuttling the nutrients to the muscles, and therefore get basically bigger with every workout. Might be a little bit, but still, every session there should be some improvement. So this is only 175 pounds, but that's more than my body weight right now. I have not been eating or lifting weights, and the only thing for exercise that I've really been doing is higher intensity cardio in the form of cycling. So I lost a lot of muscle mass and strength. I hope some of it comes back fairly quickly, but this used to be a warm-up set in and of itself at this weight. But again, the focus of how the weight moves is now very different also. So I work on, with my clients and with myself, what's called a perceived exertion scale, PER, or perceived exertion rate. In layman's terms, how hard is it for you on a scale of 1 to 10? So, I don't want to be at a 9 on my first or second set, usually, unless that's what I'm going for as a max. It typically will go something like the warm-up set, which is only 1 or 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. Then what I call a working warm-up set, where you have a little bit of weight on there, doing about 5 reps, but it's still only a 5 or 6, maybe 7. And then your third and fourth set is when you start cracking into 8, 9, and 10 out of 10 exertion, where you're giving it everything you got. And I use drop sets sometimes because I have a hard time not using a lot of volume in my training. But I'm trying to get to the point where I'm working towards my heaviest, best effort and stopping there for that exercise anyways, right? So this is obviously incline bench. Once I'm done with this, I'm gonna next go to a dumbbell flat bench today. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, we'll just stick with those two for right now. But one thing I do want to bring your attention to is the way you set yourself in the bench. Even though this is a chest exercise, where you put your feet, how you plant yourself in the chair, very, very important. So you want your hips to be sunk as far back in there as you can, your pelvis kind of tilted forward. That exaggerated posture, your feet flat on the floor, so you can drive from your heels through your entire body and push the weight up, okay? You don't want to be like you see some people doing. I know it's hard to do when you're really struggling and trying, but you'll get more leverage and a better push, and you should have a spotter anyways, ideally. Do as I say, not as I do. That was easier than the first time I tried it. So we're going to go up again a little bit. One thing that never changes no matter what kind of training I'm doing, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Cannot emphasize enough the importance of water. Not just for muscle well-being, but your overall homeostasis of your body. You know, I mean, we're like 3/4 water. So, you know, what happens to your car if you don't have oil in it? What happens to a pump in a fountain if there's no water in it? It burns the fuck up because it doesn't have any viscosity to, you know, or anything to decrease viscosity, I guess, of the working parts. So in human terms, your blood actually gets thicker, which makes it harder for your heart to pump it, which puts more stress on everything. And also, you know, it'll affect your digestion. There's not as much water available to push the food through the digestive tract. You're going to get backed up. You're going to have, you know, stuck poop, as you see in the ads on YouTube and other places frequently, I'm sure. And there's validity to that. You know, water is super, super, super important. If there's one thing you can improve for yourself today that will increase your quality of life and your performance in the gym, drink a little more water. Well, how much water? There's not really a magic number. It kind of depends on your size, your muscle mass, how much you sweat or don't sweat, the amount of activity that you're taking on during the day, all that good stuff, you know? So my rule of thumb or my barometer is my urine should pretty much be clear, right? And there shouldn't be really a period in the day that's more than, say, 60 or 90 minutes where I am not having to go use the restroom. Your kidneys do get better at filtering all that water. I know a lot of people, their first argument is, I'd spend all day in the bathroom, I just can't do that. Yes, you can. Your body will get used to it. Your storage of the water and putting it to use gets more efficient, but the first day or two, you will be breaking the seal and peeing quite a bit. But think of that. Laundry's done. Think of that as a positive cleansing thing, not a negative thing where you have to spend time in the bathroom. It's weird how we get hung up on not wanting to waste time doing things that are necessary for our body. I don't want to spend all that time in the bathroom. Why the hell not? You're filtering toxins out of your body. that's important. That's a good thing. You know, what the fuck are you gonna do with the 5 extra minutes or 10 extra minutes anyways? You know, look at Instagram, watch another YouTube video, which, by the way, you know, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could use those digits to push like and or subscribe. It will help me continue to bring some content to people who may benefit from it. You know, you might not get anything from this video, but I hope that's not the case. I hope you get something from it. If you want to see other specific things addressed that I do not address in this video, please, 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 please. I am always open to constructive criticism, ideas, and collaboration. So, you know, if you want to be a part of the Human Performance Project, if you want to even just chat, you know, you can get at me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, any of those, you know, and it's all just under Adam Coleman or Adam Benjamin Coleman, and it's a picture of me and or my dog or a motorcycle. Those are the 3 things that I care about, so those are the 3 things that, you know, you'll see. Just kidding, there's more than 3 things, but you get it. So again, making sure my shoulder blades are even in terms of how much pressure is on the bench. My feet are flat, my hands are evenly wrapped on the bar, and away we go. Okay, so that one was obviously a little more sloppy. As far as perceived exertion though, that was about an 8 or 9 out of 10 for me, so I'm going to stay there, see if I can single it a few more times. And then I will drop back down to other ancillary exercises to work on form, stamina, soft tissue, and muscle memory, creating that perfect movement. So my goal at this point, since I've gotten so skinny, and I'm not racing BMX, which would be great if I had the time and the bike, but I don't, unfortunately, right now. Powerlifting. There's a sport where power to weight ratio is appreciated. So, being that I only weigh 160 pounds, if I get my strength back up and don't put on a whole bunch of weight, there's probably a chance that I might be able to do a little bit of damage at some local or regional powerlifting meets. You know, I need to get my bench to a minimum of 3, minimum. Deadlift should be probably 4 a minimum, and my squat should probably also be about a 400-pound minimum. So right now, the deadlift is a little over 3, the squat is probably right around the same, and now bench press, shit, I'd probably be lucky if I hit 250 at this point, but that's okay, it'll change. There's lots of tricks in my bag still that I haven't even begun to employ yet, and at this point, you know, I still feel decent about the way that I look and the way my body functions, and it's nice to have good cardio, so there's always a trade-off. Maximizing what you have and not being covetous or jealous of what someone else has is something that I really personally have had to key in on and focus on, because I have a bad habit of getting what I want and then saying that I want something more or something else, you know, and I was seeing myself do it with the motorcycle. I used to do it all the time with bodybuilding. I was never good enough, you know, it was just this total muscle dysmorphia. Where even if I was, you know, sub 10% body fat and weighed 200 pounds, I'd look in the mirror and I'd still see not good enough, you know? And I know there's a lot of people out there that struggle with that in different ways. Today, I can honestly say, no matter what I weigh or look like or lift, when I look in the mirror, I still see something that's good enough. And that took some work. That took some work. So, you know, somewhere along this fitness adventure, I would encourage you to ask yourself, why? What are you doing it for? You know, what are your goals? Set some if you don't have some. And what's driving you to those goals? I will say everyone gets to have their own goals and their own approach. You know, you do you. But I would highly encourage you to find reasons other than just aesthetics, or to get even with someone else or make someone jealous or any of that shit. Like, who cares what someone else thinks? Like, do this because you're going to live longer and have a better quality of life during that period. You know, make those your why. Do it for your family. Do it for your kids. Do it for God, because He gave you a body and He wants us to make the best of it. You know, so I don't think God really cares if you know, I have an 800-pound bench or a 200-pound bench, as long as I'm making the most out of the body that He blessed me with, the only one that I got. Then, you know, that's all we can really do. And there's always some way to improve. You know, as I like to say, I got it from my dad, and now it's stuck in my head. Try to be 1% better in some way every day. You know, do something a little bit better today than you did yesterday. It's not always the big events in life that make it such a big deal. It's a lot of little things that make a big deal. You know, so pay attention to those details. Still not that pretty, but it was better than the first attempt. Felt easier than the first attempt. So I'm going to stay here and get 1 or 2 more singles before I move on. One more, and then I'm going to cut you guys off so you don't have to stand here and stare at my goofy ass changing the weight on the bench and listen to the fan and all that stuff. But I am going to show off one thing before I let you go. I'm going to come back with a part 2 later in the workout, so look for that on the channel. Also, look later today for a video that has really nothing to do with weightlifting, but where I talk about balance of life, goal setting again, and kind of my plans for the future, and some of the really helpful things that I have found and been able to implement that have allowed me to look in the mirror and be okay with the person that I see, regardless of the good, the bad, and everything else that makes the collection that is one. You know, I embrace it all today, and it is what it is. If you don't like me, sorry, you know. If you have a reason, I really am sorry. If you don't have a reason, it's a you problem, and I hope you figure out what that is. But I have come to peace with the fact that you can either be right or you can be popular and well liked. You can't do both, at least not all the time. And so I gave up on popularity long ago, and today I just try to be right. And by right I mean not completely self-absorbed and not motivated by worldly factors or variables. So what does that mean? It means I'm not people pleasing. I'm not doing shit so that people like me. I'm doing things because they're good for me, and if I can help someone as a byproduct, woo! But if my cup's empty, I can't fill yours up. So I'm learning more and more that I've got to take care of myself, be selfish sometimes, hold my boundaries, and let that kind of weed out who doesn't belong in my life. Because if I set a boundary for myself that does nothing but keep me healthier, and someone gets irritated by that, that is a sign for me to say, bye Felicia, to that person, because that's not who I want in my life for the latter part, you know? I will be 40 years old in May. I'm really just getting things figured out now. So I'm looking forward to the second part of my life. I plan to shoot for 100 years old. Whatever God has planned for me, I got to abide by that. But that's my personal goal. I'd love to live to 100. A lot of stuff is going to happen in 100 years. A lot of stuff has happened in 39 and 10/12 years, you know? 10/12. I'm pretty sure you can reduce that fraction, genius. 5/6, if you were wondering. Easy money. All right, so I will be right back with the next exercises. I'm just going to change some things around and get some more water. So stay tuned.